Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast. For the best stage so far of the Giro d'Italia, the Muri stage delivered from Chieti to Fermo, 156 Ks long, a nailed-on break stage because there's no sprinter in the world that can win this except for Prime Peter Sagan, who won here in 2017, I think. So you need, or Van der Poel, someone like that. They're not here. Mads Pedersen's not here. Even he, I think, would struggle on how steep these ramps ended up being. And it's a masterclass in stage design. You got to credit the organizers today because it's 95 Ks of flat. Like nothing for the brake to sink its teeth into, for the punchers to really get in the brake. Then it's 3 climbs of about 10K 4%, 5K 6%, and also like 4Ks 5%. Then we start the Muri. So the Red Bull case 500 meters 11%. There's then a false flat downhill valley before Capo d'Arco. It has a ramp in it, last 500 meters, very, very steep, short descent, and then a proper wall. The Muri di Via Repo, it's cut off on PCS, can't see what that's called. Anyway, very steep wall. Then it like goes into the town, there's cobbles, it's narrow, it's old, it's medieval, and then there's like an uphill sprint on some pave. Beautiful stuff. We had good weather today. This is my favorite stage so far, Benji.
Okay, I'm happy for you. I will be honest. The fact that we're saying this about this stage, for which the second half of the stage was not that intriguing. The first half was a banger. Break formation was a banger on this stage. The second half was happening, and we knew who was going to win in the last 40 kilometers, basically. So, for me, that shows what the quality of the Giro stages have been so far. If we decide this is the best stage so far. So I'd expect that we see a better stage at some point in the Giro, or at least hope we do. But to our breakaway formation, Patrick, and you pointed at it on the profile explanation that it is so flat, there's a few bumps, but nothing serious, to the point that there's not this climb that is hard to control. And on a hard to control climb, then a large group can get away, and a controlling peloton team cannot necessarily control a breakaway. But even to that sense, Patrick, I don't feel like there was clear control from like a Bahrain or a Visma as much as self-control by the breakaway. What I mean by that is, hypothetically, 7 riders go off the front, including maybe 6 teams. There's plenty of other teams in the peloton that want to be in the breakaway on today, because every single one of them, except maybe Bahrain and Visma, have written this down as, we need to be in the breakaway to try and win the stage. And because there's so many teams wanting to be in the breakaway, and there's people that have missed every move, those people respond to that first move. In doing so, bringing everybody back every single time. And that's kind of the process we had for the first 2 hours in this race, with a few other moments in between. Was the first attack that got a proper gap Ganna and Bettiol?
Ganna and Bettiol go, they dangle, and they're just soloed. They get a presidential cavalcade of motorbikes, cars, etc. that gives them a 30-second gap. But then you realize they're looking behind, they're like, hold on. They want to get caught. Magnus Sheffield even attacks into the gap. You see Astana defending it sort of traditional style, and there's just attack after attack. This goes on for 50 Ks for an hour, and it was 50 Ks an hour for 2.5 hours. The jumping kept on going. Things I noticed were Trek were not controlling. I thought they were the only possible team that would control today for a Ciccone stage win in the uphill sprint. I didn't see it, but they're the only conceivable team where you can't flame them for it either.
I would have.
Yeah, but he can't get in the break. This is the curse of Giulio Ciccone. This is what he does in the first week of the Grand Tour. If he's on 20 minutes, he's in the break and he can play for the win. But he's not.
He was in the Maglia Rosa. He was so high up in GC. Then yesterday he tried to follow in GC, and therefore he's too close in GC now for breakaways.
But he says he's not going for GC.
But also, I don't think Ciccone going in the breakaway was the main problem that led to the breakaway not going in the first place. I think it was just people missing out every single time.
Yes.
Because I didn't see a Bahrain rider responding to Ciccone.
Or Visma, Bahrain, and Bora were responding to Ciccone.
Hindley was trying to get in moves.
Hindley got into nearly a fuga bidone. A big split happened later on. But yeah, Ganna and Bettiol sort of get brought back or just accept being caught. Alpecin were doing tug buddy action. Movistar, I think, could have done a bit better tug buddy action, frankly, with Milesi. For Romo, good stage for him. Who else does it? EF, Darren Rafferty, very strong. I'm trying to think who else
Lots
jumped
of people,
a million
Patrick.
times.
Half the peloton.
Yeah, the whole peloton was jumping, really.
If anything, it's easier to tell the people who are not in the breakaway or who are not trying to be in the breakaway as much, which is Bahrain, because they want to try and control breakaway formation a little bit to try and make sure it's not a gigantic breakaway taking 20 minutes and taking the Maglia Rosa away from Eulalio. That's what they want to try and do at Bahrain. And for his Malisa bike, I didn't feel like they were really trying to get anyone in there too much either today. So they were playing relatively defensive towards Jonas Vingegaard, who is like, Eulalio is in the Maglia Rosa, but by the end of this Giro, Vingegaard is in the Maglia Rosa with the climbs and TT and so forth to come. So they are behaving as the favorite in these kind of stages is how I'm trying to convey the story here. But I think after that,
well, again, I want to credit UAE. You never see UAE dead pulling to resolve a situation in break formation. You know how many times Narvaez was in a group today? You know how many times he was jumping into the wind? And it almost never happened. And also, his explosiveness is such a gift. He will go from like a group 2 and snap bridge to group 1, and then he's in, and then he can say to Bjerg, start pulling or something. Yeah. Kristen tried to do that with Bjerg. So UAE's idea was to use Bjerg as a tug buddy for Kristen or Narvaez. And yeah, UAE just never they never kill their riders to resolve a situation like we saw some teams are desperate to get in the break, and in the end, it counts against you.
It was a crash.
Starts to rain a little bit. It's all together. It still doesn't go. A group's forming, and then Bjerg. It's a split. There's a split. Yeah, it's split in a roundabout. In the middle of the peloton, Hindley's ahead. Eulalio's ahead. Vingegaard, Pellizzari, O'Connor are behind. I think Ineos maybe behind too. Visma start to pull with Jayco. That closes. As it closes, or just before it closes, Bjerg anticipates from the front group. The front group was stalled. Bahrain were not pulling in that front group. It was stalled. Bjerg anticipates, and this is where the beauty of Narvaez just snap bridges to him. He's like, fuck it, let's go. You can pull me. Everyone's gassed. You dead pull. They're getting near the climb now. It's been 90 Ks. They're getting near the actual climb starting. They can get a head start. Leknesund, he's the only guy to bridge across, and that's your break.
Yep. Three-rider breakaway, followed by basically a second group that gradually gets created. It felt like we initially on the flat had a group of maybe 20 riders in the chasing group, which included multiple Bardiani riders, some Groupama riders. I think Arieta for UAE Team Emirates as a rider, but I won't go through every single name except maybe Johannes Kulsud, who was relatively close in GC, was in this second group at this point. This is just before the hill zone starts. And then we hit the hill zone, and on the first climb, we see multiple riders bridging from the peloton, where Vingegaard is now having control with I was going to say Jumbo Visma in 2026, Jesus, with Lotto and El Jumbo. And the gap was so small from that peloton to the second breakaway, basically, that we saw people jump, including Jan Christen, I think Martin Chota maybe. A bunch of riders from that peloton went to that second group and creating a 34, I think, man second group now. And to sketch the situation, 3 riders up front, Mikkel Bjerg, Jonathan Narvaez, and Andreas Leknesund. Then a 34-man group behind with the likes of Pinarello, the likes of Jan Christen, and a bunch of other riders, Garo Foley, that could potentially fight for a stage win. But they're a minute 20 roughly behind that duo of UAE Team Emirates plus Leknesund. So there's maybe one rider that goes on a solo adventure in the hills, which is Javier Romo, trying to close that down. He gets into a chasse patate, to be clear. And from this point onwards, there really was not enough initiative or cooperation or selectiveness in that second breakaway group, because you will never get a 34-man breakaway or 33-man now with Romo up front to collaborate enough, Patrick, to catch those 3 riders up front. The only way that could happen is if 5 to 10 riders get away from that second breakaway and form a cooperative second breakaway.
Exactly. Garofoli was trying to create that situation. No one joined him. This is really hindsight, and I know I'm not criticizing them. Leknesund's got to sit on. Like what? Honestly, and I'm not. It's not actually. It's not hindsight. When I saw
It's
that
not
group,
hindsight.
when we saw the group, the uncooperative group, it was never cooperative. It was never like it was one FDJ pulling it against Bjerg on an absolute mission. This is Bjerg. Like Bjerg is a world-class versatile ruler on his day on 5% climbs. You are not closing him unless you sit on. And Leknesson's a truck. He's pulling. Narvaez is so quick. I was like, Narvaez is winning this stage. There is just...
Yep.
Leknesson can't win. Like in this scenario.
I fully agree. And we do get an interesting situation, though. I think it was in the last 20 kilometers at this point where we've got those 3 riders clear going for the stage win. And like you said, Narvaez is the favorite. But Mikkel Bjerg has this little bit of a bait moment where he's got a small gap on Leknessund on an uphill segment. It felt like Leknessund opened up the gap a little bit, maybe doing his own tempo on a slightly steeper section. And Narvaez, I think, went to his radio and told Bjerg that he had a gap, and then Bjerg pushed a little bit. And Leknessund does get back to the wheel of Bjerg with Narvaez in the wheel, but I think this is what triggers the following action, which is Narvaez thinking maybe Leknessund is on the ropes, and he does make a little bit of a move on the left side of the road. Narvaez tries to test Leknessund, and the first test was definitely not enough. Leknessund gradually closes Narvaez, and at that point, were you thinking, ooh, Leknessund might be playing some kind of Alex Segard strat?
Yeah, I thought the only way he can win is if he doesn't close him on this first move, and if he makes it a 15-minute up and down effort against Narvaez. If he makes it a punch effort on the ramp, yeah, Narvaez is going to cook him. Narvaez cooks the best of us on those ramps. So the only way, and the problem was the pressure from Romo wasn't enough. Romo, he fades on that false flat down. We'll get back to the peloton. We'll do the break first, but we see actually what you're mentioning. We only see in the final corner what could have been for Uno X. We see, well, holy, what's going on here? Narvaez holds the gap. He then extends it. Leknessund's gears were stuck. He's doing 50 RPM on the final ramp, and Narvaez is riding away. Martin Chotter, from the group that was out of it, finishes 12 seconds behind Leknessund in this finish. He's closed a minute to Narvaez in the final, or at least 30 to 45 seconds to Narvaez in the final. And Schotter's a good rider. I mean, he was second on stage 2. So he did that 5-minute test with the GC guys, and then he's obviously fallen through. But
what do you mean second on 9th on stage 2, you mean?
Yeah, on stage 2 he was 9th, so he was like with the GC guys. UAE just played it perfectly. Like Bjerg dragged Leknessund out, Narvaez got to the ramps, and he killed him off.
They played it perfectly, but you also have to be strong enough to be in that position in the first place to play it perfectly, because being with 2 in that front 3 riders when Bjerg made that anticipation means that Bjerg has to be strong enough to do that, plus Narvaez has to be strong enough to do that. And on top of that, they had as backup 2 riders in the group behind, Jan Christen plus Arietta. So they were in an ideal situation, whatever happened in this stage. Like, sure, in the end, Jan Christen does not finish with Martin Chotta, but you've got at least a backup in that second group if all fails. But like you said, Mr. Narvaez rides off into the sunset. And yes, on the downhills, Leknessund gets closer. On the steeper sections, Narvaez gets away. That is the reality of their physiology. That's weight matters in cycling, stuff like that matters. So we see that directly on the road today, but there were more steep sections than descents apparently, because Narvaez wins by 32 seconds on Leknessund, and he wins his second stage win at the Giro d'Italia, and that's the third stage win of UAE Team Emirates. Now, I said before the race started that UAE Team Emirates will win 6 stage wins at this Giro. I wouldn't have predicted that they would be on track to do the same thing with half their team out of the race, though.
The thing is, if you combine Bjerg with Christen or Narvaez in a hilly break, you basically can't lose.
Yep.
So, yeah, they
unless
also...
Christen is not good enough.
Christen's good enough.
Well, I haven't seen, like, if Christen is in this situation in those 3 riders, he probably wins. But if Bjerg and Christen are in that 30-man breakaway with Martin Chotta and so forth, I'm not 100% sure that he wins that situation.
I'm not either, but I want to see it.
Me too.
He did close it. He did a Deadpool to close down a group with Arietta today. But again, like, Jan Christen does the thing that other teams don't do. there was the group of 3 in front. He tried to get across with another 2 riders and he was pulling with them. That's the correct thing to do. Then you have 3 and 6. And don't sit on. So I think, anyway.
3 and 6 versus 2 versus Leknesund, both are winning situations. So I don't think you're increasing your chances in that situation either.
Increases Jan Kristen's chances.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Narvaez already won a stage. I think Narvaez in his post-race interview, he said, I think he basically said that he agreed to split his bonus with Björk for the stage, which was nice.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
And deserved.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the peloton, because we had also GC action behind all these breakaway groups fighting for a, 23rd position on the stage is where the first GC rider finishes. But to be honest, not much happens in this group outside of control with Visma Leasebike until we get to about, maybe in the last 5-ish kilometers on the Capo d'Arco climb, where we have a steeper section towards the end. It's not the Capo d'Arco climb, it's the last 5K, the steep segment, where I think Kampenaerts is pushing a little bit on a steep segment towards the... It might have been on the Capo d'Arco climb, actually, just before the top, that Kampenaerts is pushing the Piganzoli, plus maybe Kuz is at the back of the group, and I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at Red Bull sitting in second, third position in the group, roughly, and Felix Gall on the right back of the group in visible trouble, to be honest. Like, I consider Felix Gall to have many weaknesses. I consider Rampa as one of them. I do think it's a potential missed opportunity for people to hurt him today.
Oh, I mean, I was like, where's Felix Gall? Where's Felix Gall? Mühlberger's looking, where's Felix Gall? He's not in the first 15. He can't move up. It's blocked. I was really shocked. Like, I mean, today, I don't know how much time one could have taken on him. 10 seconds? 15
20 seconds, 10 seconds. It's something.
I mean, he really is bad in these sort of stages. Like a steep ramp, and then the fight for position into the ramp is key, and he's not good in that. Then it splits, then he's blocked, then he's got to fight back on a flat section. I was expecting, Mick van Dijk or Aliotti in the breakaway today to pull between the ramp and the finish or something. But anyway, Eulalio is the aggressive one. Visma are shutting it down with Piganzoli, and then Eulalio full sends it into the final ramp. Absolutely love it. I love it. Yeah, why not? I mean, what's he got to lose? And
the only GC rider daring to do something today is Afonso Eulalio, who wasn't even a GC rider a week ago.
I loved it. And Vingegaard marks him. Hindley then counterattacks, and Hindley actually takes time. So he goes across, he sprints uphill, Vingegaard's in his wheel, and they take 2 seconds on the group. So Gall finishes, actually, where does he finish? Yeah, not
Small
that
gap?
Not that far.
No, not even.
On a gap, but so does Eulalio and Bernal and co.
2 seconds to Hindley and Vingegaard, but
Bernal's got to give it away.
As in give GC away, go and breakaway, or?
Yes.
Yeah,
Bernal,
I agree.
Bernal on this stage, he would have been competitive. He's very explosive still. He's good in positioning. Like, Bernal said he broke his records yesterday. He did his best ever 6 for 40. That's not competitive for podium in 2026. It's not. So
it's not, but like, is there a world in which Egan Bernal, by the end of this Giro, by the way he's riding right now, is far enough into week 2 that he can go in breakaways and go both for a stage win and a top 10 in GC? Yes,
but it's
easier to lose some time.
He's Bernal, so people respect the name, even if he's so I don't. Anyway, Bora must be confident that they can roll Gall later and the TT.
Yeah. Ciccone lost 5 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, it must be on purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
Surely he's now lost time on purpose, which he should have done 3 stages or yesterday at the latest, and now he can actually go for stages like tomorrow. Even he can go in the breakaway. So I think that's correct, and I think he's lost time on purpose. So it's a pretty big GC group that finishes. Yeah, he's back up there.
He's now 4th in GC. So GC is now Afonso Eulalio, 315 on Vingegaard, 334 on Gall, and the rest basically stay the same, except for Scaroni coming into 4th position from 11th, now on 418 of Eulalio. But the Scaroni concept here is difficult because he's basically playing a game of musical chairs with the top 10 of GC. Falling out of top 10, going back into the breakaway, and getting back into the top 10.
It is
Holding
the way
out
to
of
do
top
it.
10, going back into the top 10. Which, that's fine. But it's also limiting your ability to go in the breakaway every single day. Because now he's on 4 minutes.
Yeah, I think he's not respected enough. He's a puncher, so people are, we'll just take it back on a climb. What did we learn today? I think after yesterday, people are underestimating Felix Gall. That's what I think. Bellazzari's not as good a climber as Felix Gall. What evidence is there that he's a better climber than Gall? There is zero evidence of that.
But the reality is that Felix Gall has visible weaknesses. Today, they didn't exploit it, though. So that's an element there where I agree with you, where if your opponent has a problem or a vulnerability, exploit it. I do expect I don't see a competition between Vingegaard and Gall.
No. I'm talking.
I don't care that
Bora want to
they
lock
climbed
out the
close
podium.
yesterday. Yeah, I don't care that they climbed closely yesterday. On the time trial, Gall's gonna lose 2-3 minutes to Jonas Vingegaard. So there's no competition there for me. When it comes to Hindley and Pellizzari, they're not the greatest time trialists in the world either.
I think
especially
Pelli's
Hindley
alright.
in that sense. What, sorry?
I think Pellizzari is competent. I think he's pretty good.
With Hindley, it's more like Hindley's not that much better than Felix Gall.
That's what I mean,
trials.
yeah.
But I trust their consistency across 3 weeks more because the odds of Gall having one day where he loses a substantial amount of time because of a weakness that is exploited exists.
I don't know. He was 5th in the Tour last year.
He was 5th in the Tour last year, but
I think he's the problem. You know how they rolled. You know how they rolled only in the
Move on to
Mont Ventoux and other stages. That was because Only was not as good a climber as Lipovic and Roglic, or equal.
You can't roll attacks on a climber that's better than you because he'll just drop you. That's the reality in that situation. Or you might have been dropped before you can even roll attacks in the first place. I do agree with you in the sense that if they rated him correctly, they would have tried to drop him today.
I agree. I would have tried 20 seconds.
For me, I before the race started, I expected Felix Gall to come 4th here, but I also said he was the second best climber on the start line.
Well, the reason you said 4th is because you thought on stage 2 in Bulgaria, in this sort of stage, he's going to, one of these stages he's going to mess up, but now he hasn't.
Yep.
And he's got the TT left, and of course, big mountain descent. I don't think his descending is it's not that bad.
It's not horrible, but if Vingegaard wants to drop Felix Gall on a descent, he can do it. In the span of that one descent.
But the thing is, can Bora, with Aliotti and Vlasov, drop Gregor Mühlberger? I don't think they can right now.
No.
So that's the problem.
Is the value in the... Well, what stage is it? There's a stage in this Giro d'Italia with a flat first half and then 4 climbs in the second half, somewhere in week 2. Medium Mountain Festival. Is that the place for a Gall beating?
Let me have a look. I think you're talking about stage 15. Nope.
Ooh. Trying to figure out which one it is, to be honest.
The Paper District stage. Yeah, I know the one you mean. Stage 11. Yeah,
that seems like one where something's possible against Gall.
Yeah, I guess. I think the shorter Muris are better, but
that was today.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it was quite an entertaining stage. Narvaez very good. UAE keep winning. X very strong. I think Astana rode for one of Scaroni, and again it's the same group. Silva, Milese, Scaroni not coming back. Again, same guys, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So they needed to work together a bit better, probably. And GC, what else did we learn?
Nothing.
Nothing really.
We'll learn more tomorrow, maybe, yeah?
KOM, Sevilla didn't take it off Vingegaard. And tomorrow's stage, let's preview that. We have an uphill finish. This looks like a Vuelta stage. And we have absolutely flat for 150 Ks for 3.5 hours from Cervia. It could be good if it's a break fight.
It could be good if it's a break fight, but it could also just be a very similar stage as yesterday, which is like the first hour, 5 riders go off the front, and the rest don't decide not to go in the breakaway. I think there's going to be more attacks than on the blockhouse stage on this one. But it also doesn't seem impossible to control for a GC fight either. But the only team that would remotely be interested in doing that is Visma. Bahrain will try and control it on a decent gap to make sure nobody takes Maya Rosa, but they don't care if the peloton goes for the stage win. So it really depends on how Visma controls break formation and whether they
I disagree.
have pinpointed this.
Don't you reckon Eulalio can fry some guys on this climb?
I'm sorry, Bahrain should not control for the stage win, just for Eulalio's off chance of frying someone.
I agree, but I actually think this is a good finish for Eulalio. Vis-a-vis Aronsman.
I think Eulalio's going to be happy if he remains in the Maglia Rosa tomorrow, if not remains close to it.
Oh, he'll be in the Maglia Rosa tomorrow.
On paper, he should be.
Yeah, sorry, I should finish the climb. It's 10K, 6%, but it's really, that is fake news. It's in two parts.
It's 6K.
It's like 6Ks with the first 3Ks at like 7%, and then there's 2Ks at 11%, and then the last 800 meters 6%. So it's like a 5-minute test, and I think Eulalio is very good on that.
I do think he's going to lose roughly a minute 30 max-ish to Vingegaard tomorrow. Max, eh?
If the break wins, is Vingegaard going to go all out?
He probably should.
Bora will probably force his hand.
Like, by the time the time trial hits, Eulalio's either just in the Maglia Rosa or out of it.
I think Eulalio defends pink tomorrow. You mean by the time he's finished the TT?
What, sorry?
You mean after the TT, he's lost the... Yeah, I agree. It's a close run thing. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I think breakaway, because I think Ciccone, like, I'm sorry, Walscheid, Teutenberg, and Milan, they have to help Ciccone get in the break tomorrow. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, if he gets in the break, he will win the stage.
Trying to figure out other names for a potential breakaway victory, though. With Ciccone in the breakaway, it's not a certainty that he wins the stage from the break. There's other good climbers in this race that can be in the breakaway. Like if Harper goes in the break or something.
Nah, he's too close. I think Bahrain are quite... I think they're quite aggressive on closing down people like that.
Ooh.
I'm going Ciccone.
5K climb. You're going Ciccone?
Jan Christen. Could be. Mikkel Bjerg back-to-back tug buddy.
Yeah. I've got a hard time figuring out the winner on this one. I'm not feeling Garofoli against someone to win. I thought that was great today, but it's longer. It's only a 5-minute test though, really. Nah, it's a bit longer than that. I should have prepared this, shouldn't I? Is that the conclusion here?
Yes. What do you think happens in GC?
I think Jonas takes time on competitors.
Okay.
I think this is maybe a worse climb for Gal than Blockhouse, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Pellizzari should know better by now.
I don't think it's a good climb for Pellizzari. He got rinsed on Tagliacozzo last year.
Yeah, but he should know better than to try and follow Jonas in the same way he did 2 days ago.
I don't think he's going to do it.
Or yesterday.
I think Bora are going to attack Gal.
I'm going, I don't know, Pinarello or something. Let's go with that.
Okay. Tour de Hungary, we had Grande Casino there today. The race got neutralized 1 lap early, and the race got told 5Ks to go. So the breakaway had 2 minutes. Soderfist was on 20 seconds GC in the breakaway, and he won by 40 seconds with Boney. So if they don't neutralize the time gaps there, he goes into the GC lead. If they do neutralize the time gaps, Tim Merlier is still in the GC lead with like a puncher stage tomorrow. So actually Benoit's got his work cut out to win this race, whatever they decide, which is kind of funny. And yeah, I think, what else do I think? Oh, and Flesh to Silver was also a similar.
Has tweeted, after discussion with the jury, the UCI team that's involved, the GC times of the stage count. Jakob Söderqvist take yellow. I think that's a mistake. I think that's the wrong decision to make.
That's not right. You have to you have to almost take Söderqvist out of it and credit him with some other time. I mean, it is always like being the break, but
being the break, but how late did they take the lap out?
It was
just
late.
Before the lap was about to start.
The teams couldn't do anything to resolve it in time.
That's so silly.
Yeah, I think they probably should neutralize the GC times, and then Tim Merlier can win.
Yeah, it's just punchers versus sprinters, and then you've actually got a battle for the victory. Because now, good luck getting Söderqvist out of that lead jersey tomorrow.
Yeah, after his performance today, I don't think he's going to drop on repeats of 2K, 6%, 30Ks from the finish, but Kosnev's going to try. But apparently, the GC standings count, and he's 40 seconds ahead of Benoit. Although I got to say, Benoit just marked Plapp the whole time, so. Okay. Should people tune in tomorrow, Benji? Yes or no?
Why not?
I think yes. I think tomorrow's going to be a good stage.
I think you can tell from my commentary that I don't think it's been the best Giro I've ever seen so far. But I still love the sport of cycling, so of course I'm going to fucking watch the last climb. Of course I'm going to watch break formation. Maybe the middle section I'll build a Lego set or take a nap or go for a run. But
speaking of which,
still cycling, you know?
Is there any other cycling news? We're not doing a weekly show on Monday.
I haven't had the time to watch the second stage with Julia Women, though, so don't spoil it.
Okay. Did you? Oh, yes. Thijs Proyer won to the Gévaudan Occitanie stage 1 in a small group sprint. Junior.
We talk about the Yellow River Estuary Road Cycling Race 2 while we're at it?
There's the long lineage of good riders in that women's junior race. Or mold. Another Ferguson, Swearenga, etc. Okay, that's enough. We'll let Benji do his thing. Ciao, 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 everyone.